We'd like to turn now to Scout Bratt of the Center for Jewish Nonviolence. And Scout, the floor is yours.
Right on. Thank you. Hi, everyone. It's lovely to see you. I'm glad to be here. I'm calling in from Chicago. I am an organizer and co-director of the Center for Jewish Nonviolence, and I'm really happy to be here today talking with all of you and with partners who we really value, whose work is incredible, and it's an honor to be in the same room with y'all. So I can tell you a little bit about the Center for Jewish Nonviolence and wanted to do so while I flipped through a slideshow of different images that we've taken recently. Feeling all right, people? Okay, so Michael, I don't have capacity to screen share, but if you want to, oh, yes, I do. Now I do. Great. So this in general, the slideshow that I'm going to show you is going to be a series of images that have been taken most recently. Can you all see that? Is that right? Let's see. Most recently from our programming in the South Hebron Hills, a new program of sustained solidarity we've been calling Hinenu. It's the newest project of the Center for Jewish Nonviolence, and really it's based in many of the different areas that that Amy just mentioned. And so when we're talking about the South Hebron Hills, many of the villages that we're talking about are depicted in these images. And ultimately, the Center for Jewish Nonviolence has been around for a little bit over 6 years. We've been working in direct solidarity with Palestinian partners, mostly in the South Hebron Hills, but also in East Jerusalem and some in Lyd. The origin story of the Center for Jewish Nonviolence is back in 2016, 2015, excuse me, there were some olive trees, an olive grove that were destroyed by the IDF at a family farm of Daoud Nasser, now known as Tent of Nations. And the founder of this organization, Alana Sumka, was reaching out to Daoud to figure out how can we support you from afar. And his request was to bring specifically Jewish people from international locations to replant the trees. And that began our delegations of direct nonviolent resistance and specifically doing infrastructural support projects for existence as resistance, similar to what Elias talked a little bit about. And we've been doing those in partnership with a variety of different Palestinian-led organizations and different communities, in addition to working with different US and international-based organizing efforts, like If Not Now, Jewish Voice for Peace, J Street U, Na'amod UK, Independent Jewish Voices Canada, who have helped gather folks from around the world to come stand in solidarity and do nonviolent direct action that brings attention to the occupation, the lived realities of the occupation, stories of resistance led by Palestinians throughout generations, and calls for sustained co-resistance, specifically by people who carry Jewish privilege, folks who carry a lot of white privilege, not all the white privilege, but who have bodies that could be strategically used to stand in direct opposition to the occupation. So when we've done projects, whether they are 10-day delegations of direct nonviolent or nonviolent direct action, or the most recent project, which was Hinenu, which was 3 months of sustained solidarity in the South Hebron Hills with activists from around the world and some Israeli activists as well. We are doing work that is directly guided by our Palestinian partners. So projects that we do to rebuild roads that actually beckon or call the IDF out because they know that anytime that people are cooperating to rebuild core infrastructure for Palestinians, that is actually a threat to the Israeli apartheid. Or if it is trying to create and clear a space in Hebron that is specifically for gathering of a cinema, a public space for people to celebrate and be together on land that has been historically theirs, that we are actually challenging the occupation in ways that bring attention and are also celebratory of the ways in which relationships can potentially end not only the occupation, but also the trauma that has been bred over the course of generations. It's through close relationship building that we are trying to eradicate this structure of harm, the structure of ongoing trauma, of essentially dehumanization. So I'm happy to talk to you a little bit more about the work that the Center for Jewish Nonviolence is doing. And the truth is, it's really guided by our Palestinian partners. So some of what was previously mentioned, doing work on helping to escort some young folks from different places to get to school, supporting and escorting shepherds in the fields of the South Hebron Hills, rebuilding the community center and or painting the community center, planting zatar plants, and even being together to craft storytelling and hold online storytelling events to share and spread Palestinian partners' narratives to different communities in North America and in Europe, are all ways in which we have heard direct requests from our Palestinian partners of what support can look like. So for the most part, that is my general summary of the Center for Jewish Nonviolence. We just ended this large project and of 3 months in the South Hebron Hills. And I'm happy to talk a little bit more about it, but really that's everything that I initially want y'all to know, and would invite both your questions in the chat box, direct message me, and then I know there'll be some time for questions after. Thank you.
Thank you, Scout.